Welcome back to another episode of Comic Dudes with Attitudes, where we two dudes talk about comics, comic books, comic related things, video games. Sometimes there's a little bit of attitude involved. Sometimes we're a little chippy. But we're best friends, so that's okay. We move past it. We don't hold on to those things. But one thing that I do tend to hold on to are video games that are meaningful to me, that mean a lot to me. I have a big video game collection. I started gaming, on the 8-bit Nintendo when I was just a wee lad in the 80s. And now I'm playing on PC, Xbox Series X, PlayStation 5. A lot has changed in gaming over the years. And today, we're going to talk about how important length is. Can a game be too long, too short? What's just right? Get into it.
Yeah, so I proposed this topic to Dave as I've kind of like really gotten back into gaming, over the past holiday break. And
yeah, this was a bit of a left turn for us. We haven't had a comics, a gaming episode in quite a while, like 25, 30 episodes probably.
We really leaned into the comics, which is good. I mean, it's just fine, but I think moving forward,
it is the name of the podcast.
It's going to be maybe more of like a 50-50 split. I don't know, whatever. But like, really got it back into gaming over the holiday break. I really got into like Assassin's Creed. I mentioned it the last episode. Like, I put like 45 hours into this game, and over the course of maybe like two and a half weeks. I really enjoyed the game. Really, really liked the game overall. But like after I got done playing it, I had the sensation of like, I said I don't ever need to play another one of these games, but like I really don't need to play another one of these games for a number of months. And that sensation that you get, like I said, I really did enjoy the game a lot. But it's just like the exhaustion that comes with some of these games nowadays. I remember when I was young, you would pick up a lot of games, and I have a lot of games that I have some really fond memories of. I honestly don't even think I finished, but like you would go to Blockbuster, your local movie shop, pick up a game. You play a game for, 6 hours. You'd really like it. They're probably really hard games, and you would stop playing them anyway, and you move on to the next thing. Nowadays, I'm noticing this trend of like, you get one game, and you play the hell out of that one game. And that's kind of like how it is. There's not so much jumping around to a lot of different games. So I want to like drop this over to Dave. I want to say, in your opinion, do you feel that games are like really long, they're too long, they're like just right for you, or they're short in length on average, like for most games? Like, what do you think?
I have a multi-layered opinion.
That's just good.
And I don't know if it's going to sound like a bit of a cop out, and I understand that, but it's game specific. And it's also person specific. Depending on what type of game you're playing, depending on what the goal of that game is, depending on who the publisher of that game is, you're going to get varying amounts of time invested to enjoy the game. I do think there are some games that are too short.
Okay.
That is a real thing. I haven't played it yet, but Callisto Protocol, like the sort of spiritual successor to Dead Space from the guys that started Visceral Games, RIP. I've heard that game is like 6 to 8 hours long, and a lot of people are upset about that. Dude, a 6 to 8 hour game that has a very good story-driven narrative experience is like perfect for somebody like me who doesn't spend a lot of time playing those types of games. On the flip side, a game like Elden Ring or any From Software game, those games can't be that short because the type of person that plays those games is expecting a very, very, very robust and lengthy experience. They want to do the grind. They want to play the game their way, and they're expecting to get, 60, 80, 100 plus hours for their $60 or $70. So I don't think there's a way to say this is the perfect length for a game, because you really have to distill it down into genre and sort of intent of the game. Look at games as a service, and specifically, like the BR genre, battle royale, like games like Apex Legends and Warzone and PUBG. The goal of those games is to keep you playing as long as possible. I'm closing in on 2,000 hours in Apex Legends. The game's been out for 4 years, almost 4 years. So, I mean, there's no length to that game.
Yes.
Just a multiplayer competitive shooter. There's no completion. There's no completion date. There's just when you get sick of it.
Do you miss the completion date aspect of gaming?
No, because I still have that experience when I want it. I can go buy a single player game and play through it. We talked about this last episode, but we both just started playing God of War, the 2018 God of War single player game. Although I was going to bring that up today because I do think that that's that specific type of like third person action adventure game. It's not like the old God of War games. The combat is more deliberate. It's more Souls light.
Yes, it
in
is.
terms of combat, and you've got the narrative power of an Uncharted or The Last of Us, like a Naughty Dog story experience where you've got a second character with you that you don't have to escort. That secondary NPC helps with a lot of things, fills in story, has a place in the game. But point being, I've also heard that this God of War game is like 30 to 50 hours long.
This the one we're playing, 2018?
Yeah. So I don't know if I've got 30 to 50 hours in me.
In that game? Yeah.
To really finish that game. Like I can maybe get through the main quest line and not go back and do anything extra. And even that I've heard, that's like on the low end of that 30 to 50 to do everything. I just don't know if that's in me.
Yeah, I mean, I checked the how long to beat on it, and I think it was like 20 hours. The new one, Ragnarok, I heard is like definitely like 30 to 50 hours, like you're saying. Like it's a very long game. And even like that, just that in general, for me, like God of War was not obviously this new narrative based God of War game is different. I get that, but like God of War back in the day was like that was 10 hours, man. Like, and that was a premier PlayStation exclusive franchise. My friends, I'm gonna put him out there on blast. My boy Sheridan, who hates Sony, that is a game that he would play. Like that is a system seller game for him. And that, so to compare those two like AAA games, to me, I think game length has grown a lot. No, I think you're correct in what you're saying, depending on like where you're looking. Admittedly, I'm a Ubisoft guy, so like that is like their thing.
Well, and that's kind of to my point earlier about it depends on the person playing the game.
Correct.
I mean, that's the only thing Ubisoft does anymore is make open world
bloated games.
That's
like,
it.
That's what I do.
It's tons and tons of find this, go fetch this, do this, side missions out your ass. It's too much for me. Ubisoft needs to just chill out a little bit on the constant churning of open world games with light RPG elements forced onto the player. Yes. I mean, they're good at what they do, but I can't play the same game reskinned over and over and over and over again.
Correct. And that, like I said, admittedly, that is what a lot of their franchises were. But like even Assassin's Creed wasn't like that before. Assassin's Creed was like a tight, 20 hour on the kind of the high end of the franchise. This is double that length. And I didn't do nearly all the quests in that game. So I don't know. I'm not much of a Nintendo gamer. I don't know how long those games are. I don't know, like on average, like what a Mario game is, or if like those games are really like bloated. I don't know. I mean, I can definitely
Zelda games, they're going to be, the last one. The last one was pretty long. Breath of the Wild was a long game because it was open world.
So we're just like we're in the like open world era of just video gaming where everything is
Yes and no, because there's a very, very rich indie game landscape where they're creating phenomenal single player experiences that are less than 10 hours long. Um, they're just non-traditional, like don't have a ton of really, noisy releases. You're not going to see commercials
Yeah.
during the NFL playoffs for,
No,
an indie game sequel from a critically acclaimed game that came out 3 years ago. You know what I mean?
for
Like,
for Shovel Knight, that's not going to be in the
yeah, yeah, you're
cutting
not
in
you're
the
not
middle.
getting that. But I mean, those experiences are still out there.
Yeah.
And we've seen this before. If you remember in like the mid 2000s when Gears of War kind of burst onto the scene, like how many Gears of War clones did we get over the years? Everyone was doing cover-based third-person shooters, and they were pretty short games, less than 10 hours long.
Yeah. Kill Switch. That was way before.
Yeah.
Vanquish. Vanquish. That was one.
Dark
Was it
Sector
Dark
is
Sector, dude? The
another one.
glaive. The glaive.
Yeah, there was that Terminator game that we
South.
played co-op that was like literally like a 4-hour game, and you played it co-op on normal difficulty, 4 hours long.
Yeah, that's true.
Now it would have been great if it was $20-$30, but it was $60.
Yeah.
That was the problem.
I did enjoy that. I got a bitch and 1,000 achievement gamer score points or
Mm-hmm.
whatever on Xbox from that 4 hour experience, but probably not worth $60 in hindsight.
No, not at all. But I there are also games that are in between what we're talking about, these really long, sort of RPG influenced narrative action shooter games, whatever, open world, call them whatever you want. There's stuff like the Guardians of the Galaxy game that came out last year. Well, actually, it was late 2021 that it came out. Came out in like October of 2021, but that was like a 12 to 14 hour game.
That's
Linear
it.
storyline, yeah, linear story.
Right.
Phenomenal game. Some light, decision tree type of stuff when you're in conversation in between missions on your ship, similar to Mass Effect, but without all of the heavy consequences of your decisions that you get in Mass Effect. There's stuff like that that's available. The Uncharted games, for the most part, there's sub 20-hour experiences, linear story driven. Last of Us, the first one, same thing. It's, around 20 hours. Last of Us 2, there's another like weird little subgenre within these types of experiences where like Last of Us 2 has some hub world type of stuff where you got a very small open area to explore, similar to what the Coalition did with Gears of War 5. And there's other games that are like this where you've got these little hub experiences within what is essentially a single player narrative. And I think that's still relatively linear, despite you get, moments of freedom in some of those little hub areas. But The Last of Us 2 was phenomenal. It was under 30 hours. But I'm willing to do that for a game like The Last of Us 2.
Yeah, like of the like highest of high quality. I might have to bump that Guardians game up because I didn't know it was only like 14 hours. Like that's
I mean, to
that
be
would be a
fair,
probably yeah.
I played it on like the easiest difficulty just to experience the
That's
story
fine.
because the story is fantastic.
Yeah.
The combat is kind of frustrating. So playing it on normal would have probably been like 20 hours because I was taking cheap deaths on easy difficulties because combat is not very forgiving.
And how you said about I don't know, you said about like God of War, like it is I'm glad you said it's like kind of like Souls like I'm playing it on normal right now and like I get through the fights, but I've definitely died a couple times. So like
Yep.
last night I was like, bump that joint, it's going to easy. I'm just trying to
No
get through
shame
the
in that.
story.
Yeah.
I got a million games I gotta catch up on. I could do this,
Exactly.
but I have no desire. There's no point. I just want to know the story.
That's the
So
beauty of, the hobby is like you get to choose the experience that you want to have with a game for the most part. You decide if you want to challenge yourself, if you want to play it on easy and enjoy the story. And it doesn't matter, like who cares? There's people
I
that
remember
gatekeep playing on normal and hard
yeah,
difficulty, and
exactly.
those
Yeah.
people are weird and they need to stop internalizing whatever problems they have with it. They have some hangups here that they're manifests in judgment of others. Like, get over yourself. Like, let people play the games the way they want to play the games. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter.
Exactly.
If I want to challenge
There are definitely
myself
some
and
games-
get mad that the game is hard, I will play Apex Legends because I'm playing against
Yeah.
other humans that are generally as good or better than me at the game, and that gets hard.
Like Ninja Gaiden, I like those games. Like, or like when I play, if I was to play a From Software game, like I would probably play that on normal and want to, you know, drive myself insane. But
It's
like,
fun, you know. It's hilarious that you even said that because there is no difficulty setting on From Software games.
they're just it is. What
There's
it
just
is.
the game.
Yes,
You just play the game.
Exactly.
The games are hard.
I will pick up that game.
If you want the game to be easy, you have to get good at the game. That's the only option, except in Elden Ring, where you can kind of level grind yourself to make the game easier. But there are no difficulty settings in FromSoft games.
I just remember in Ninja Gaiden when you would bump it down to like easy, they call you like Ninja Dog, and you'd have to wear like this pink armband. And I'm insulted. I love the color pink. I don't know what they're insinuating there, but yeah, they would like tag you and like make you feel bad for putting it like at a lower difficulty. Like whatever, dude. Like sweet.
Have you seen the South Park difficulty slider yet? Or
No.
The Stick of Truth. I think that's the newest one, right?
Fractured Butthole, I think, is the newer one.
That's right. Fractured Butthole.
Butthole.
Your pronunciation was
no, it's Butthole. I know.
So when you're creating your character and you get to the difficulty setting, the difficulty scales by the color of skin that you choose. So if you are the pale white, that is the easiest difficulty, and then going up to a dark brown is the hardest difficulty. And there's a disclaimer that this doesn't make the difficulty of the game any different. It just makes every other thing you try to do in life that much harder. Which I thought was
there's so much politically incorrect stuff, and I love it. Like I love it though. That game.
That's not really. That isn't really that politically incorrect though. That is more of like biting social commentary because it's relatively based on reality.
It is true. This is true. So I like that you said, there's some smaller games if you really like look for them and look into them, you can find them. Shredder's Revenge, dude. Like perfect example. Great game. Loved it. And you brought up another game I was kind of actually interested in is Callisto Protocol. I wish it wasn't $70. If it was like 50, I might check it out. Like if I can get it kind of on a sale.
I mean, it's really only 35 if we want
it. But like, I mean, when I heard it was like 10 to 12 hours, I was like, I mean, that sounds kind of appealing to me. I don't know. Like after all these 40, hour games, I don't know.
Yeah, but I agree. I mean, dude, if you haven't played Last of Us 2 yet, I really need you to play that game.
I don't know. All right, if that's I have it. I got it for sale for $10. So
you played the first one?
Pumped. Oh yeah, dude, loved it. Cried multiple times. Well, I kind of want to play the first one again because it's been so long. But I know I remember what happens. It was that impactful of a game, so I know what happens. Obviously, at the end of it.
Yeah. Last of Us 2 just as good, if not better, than the first in terms of the story and the emotional side of things. It's pretty brutal.
Well, that's the thing with these Sony games, dude. They're all like very well written, but they're like dark and sad. Like I don't know, they're all like sad
just the ones from Naughty Dog.
Yeah. Well, God of War's kind of sad too.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, God of War's God of War.
Yeah, I don't know. I was like, I need to play The Last of Us 2 though. That was definitely part of the reason I got the system.
I highly recommend Last of Us 2.
Well, we'll have to come up with the power rankings of the games I need to beat.
All right.
So, I think my closing thought to this when thinking about it is really like, I think you're right. I don't think games are necessarily it's title dependent. I don't think I'm frustrated with games that are long. I think I'm frustrated with games that clearly don't respect our time.
Yes.
That's what it is more than anything. If a game is 40 hours, but the experience is incredible through the whole thing, like you're going to enjoy it. But if you feel like it's really not respecting your time, you should get out. But
I agree. All right. Should
well,
we hit
that's all I
some
got.
news?
Let's hit some news.
It's time for. It's time for the news. Matt. Because Dave doesn't really pay attention to this.
Not a lot of comic book news this week. Couple video game things.
Okay.
I think I was stalking you online the other day.
Nice.
Actually on Xbox. And
Okay.
I saw you're playing Madden. Is that true?
Probably. It was late last week. I played Madden for a little bit last week.
You're playing Madden on the Xbox, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you hear anything about like the save game thing going on in Madden?
Mm-hmm.
How are we not talking about? How come this is not a bigger deal?
Because no one cares about Madden outside of the hardcore community that plays Madden. That's why. It would be bigger news if it was a game that people actually cared about.
This is scary bad. Like, I feel like this is a really bad thing. So, for those who don't know what we're talking about, I missed this, but this was like in late December. And so, can you take your progress, like your save game from last year's Madden, if you're doing like a not a franchise mode, well, like a dynasty mode? Can you upload it to the new game? I wasn't sure on that. Or you just got to make like a new dynasty, whatever. So
you're right the first time. It's called franchise mode.
Franchise mode. So you can do a franchise, and I was thinking like, I know there's leagues that guys play in, like where they play against each other or whatever. Yeah. Obviously,
there's 32 people in a franchise mode together.
So say there's a franchise mode, and on December 28th, between like it was like at 2:00 in the afternoon until like 4 a.m. on December 29th, if you logged into your league on Madden, your save was corrupted and you hit an error message that said that there was like a data storage issue.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that's like super scary is like this pretty much corrupts your entire franchise data. So say you've been playing with 10 other guys, not even 32. I wouldn't even my brain would melt. But say you're playing with like 10 of your buddies in this franchise mode, you've been playing, all year, whatever, like your franchise mode has now been corrupted. The worst part about this is they're only able to like recover like 40% of the leagues. So 60% of these save files might be completely gone as of what I had researched. Mm-hmm. I don't know if they would be able to backdate to some other point or whatever, but could you imagine if this was like you said like no one cares about Madden except the hardest of hardcore. Can you imagine if this was your Apex Legends data or I haven't even played Destiny in forever, but my Destiny Guardian that has all these legendary equipments and all this stuff, like, dude, that's not good. Like, I don't know. Like,
it's funny
I feel like that's
that
a big
Apex, because this has happened for Apex before, and they've been they recovered everyone's accounts. It wasn't like you didn't have your stuff for a day or two, and then it all came back.
Okay.
The thing with Madden, though, that only happened if you were cloud save. If you're playing the online franchise mode, if your data was saved on your console, you were completely unaffected.
Okay. Well, I guess I don't care. I just think regardless, that's like a really bad look. Like I don't know.
I mean, it's hard for me to like really understand this because I am not the hardcore Madden player anymore. So if my franchise save file was corrupted and I had to start over, I'll just start over. I don't think I'd be that mad about it. It would be an inconvenience, but I play Madden so casually now. I don't care.
All right. Laissez-faire Dave. On to the next news.
It's just a game. At the end of the day, it's just a game. You play a game to have fun, man. Just a game.
I like this new chill Dave. I want rage Dave. I like this new Dave. It's good stuff.
You just said you like this new Dave, and then immediately said, I miss the other one. Which is it? Do you want the new version, or do you want me to just be mad all the time? Which one is it?
I'm going to have to figure that out. I'll have to get back to you on that later. Next story. Quick one. The European Union is now blocking this Activision deal apparently as of today.
Nice.
So sweet. This
Little
might not
follow
be
up from last week.
little fault, yeah, little continuity. Want to keep that rolling. We're not going to dig into that, but
But you know who that doesn't include?
who?
Jolly old England. They're not in the EU anymore.
That's true. That's true.
Shout out Brexit. They do what they want.
Good point. Good point. So we're going to keep an eye on that. I'm pretty excited. I think you might be kind of like watching a game or have it on. The last good Star Wars property, in my opinion, The Mandalorian. There's apparently going to be some kind of reveal during the Buccaneers Cowboys game. So I'm excited to see the trailer after I get off of this.
Like
Hopefully,
the
it's
first
good.
week of March, season 3 starts.
Okay, first week of March.
Yep.
All right, looking forward to that for sure. I probably should watch Andor. I've heard nothing but good things about that. But
Yeah, that's on my list. But I gotta finish Jack Ryan season 3 first.
ooh, you're on the Jack Ryan
I
train.
love that show, dude. It's so
Really?
good.
Really? A
So
little Tom
good.
Clancy, little Ubisoft. Little Ubisoft. All right. We're gonna have to talk. You might have to fill me in on that one because I'm interested in that.
It's so good.
That's
I love
awesome.
it.
All right, I'm gonna have to watch that. And my last news story. Are you excited at all for this like Xbox game showcase because of the dud they had at E3 and presented
No.
nothing?
No.
No, not at all.
It's hard for me to get excited when you have nothing to show me.
No Forza, Minecraft Legends,
I haven't played Forza since Horizon 3.
Elder Scrolls Online.
I don't like Elder Scrolls games. I'll try Starfield because it's sci-fi. But it's going to end up being like, it looks like it's going to be realistic sci-fi, not Mass Effect sci-fi. So even that, I'm like, meh, I don't know.
I'm getting more excited for this Redfall game they're going to show, though. I don't know if you've seen anything about that.
Nope.
It's pretty much like a zombie. Well, a lot of people said it's like kind of a Left 4 Dead clone because there's 4 players, you can do whatever. And
Like
it's
Back
like
for
these
Blood.
kind of, but the developer said it's not more so like Back for Blood or Left 4 Dead. They're like it's closer more to Far Cry. So being an Ubisoft guy, of course, I'm gonna like that. But it's cooperative, can be 4 players apparently. So that is going to be shown at this showcase. So I'm definitely interested to see. I've seen some gameplay of it. I want to see some more gameplay of it for sure. It'll be on Game Pass day 1, so that's a win. Starfield, apparently they're doing a showcase later that's going to be completely dedicated to Starfield. I'm questioning if this game is ever going to come out.
Ready when it's ready. That's the
it's
Bethesda
ready when
way.
it's ready. Yeah, no, it's
Unless
ready
it's
when
Fallout
it's ready.
76, then we're going to launch it anyway.
But did that game get better over time or no?
It did, but it took a long time for it to get better. But it was broken at launch. Absolutely busted. Terrible. Like so many other games.
Yeah. In this new era, we can't ship anything on time. So
Shout out Midnight Suns.
oh boy, let's not even talk about that.
So you brought up Ubisoft, and I'm gonna bring up something. I don't know if it's newsworthy because this game was announced a long time ago, but you know there's a new Division game coming out.
Yeah, Division, not Homefront or something, but yeah, it's like a mobile game, isn't it?
It's a free to play. It's not mobile.
Free to
It's
play.
a free to
Okay.
play,
Yep.
which means it's a
Micro.
pay to win. Games as a service. It feels like this was an inevitable next step for Ubisoft, the way that they've constructed their company and releases, where every game is just a massive open world cluster F of things to do, overwhelming amounts of things to do. But this to me is a step in the wrong direction. Taking a game like The Division, which had such a cool storyline, and now years later, I don't know how many years it's been, 5-6 years since the first Division came out. Now we're getting a free-to-play version of The Division.
We all know what that means. We all know what that means. Like everyone knows. I hope everyone knows what that means. Free to play.
Everyone knows what that means.
Now I need to see when the first one came out.
It had to have been in 2016.
Good guess. Yep.
Anyway.
So you crushed me about putting my $10 in Assassin's Creed.
Yeah. And I'll do it again. You want me to do it again?
Man,
You're part of the problem. You're the reason. You're the.
Money,
Go ahead.
How much money you put in that Marvel game?
I don't know.
How much skin you put in there?
I don't know.
All right.
That broke off a little bit here and there.
Wet my beak.
Here's the thing, though. Here's why it's different.
No,
here's why it's different.
There's no difference.
No. Here's why it's different. That Marvel Strike Force game is a free-to-play mobile game. You expect to have to pay for certain things in those types of games. That is the model for those types of games to make any kind of money. What Ubisoft does is release what's supposed to be a full retail experience, and then they give you the option to pay a little bit extra to be better at the game, XP boost, whatever. It's a pay-to-win model that's shoehorned into what is supposed to be a full retail experience for my $60 or $70. And this is a thing that leads to, let's just do games as a service. Let's do a free-to-play Division game. Because people continue to do their pay-to-win bullshit. It's the same garbage that EA has done for years and years and years, and Activision has done, where you could buy those XP boosts, or I guess you would win XP boosts by buying products that had XP boosts.
Like in Warcraft, you get boosted up to like a level 90.
That type of, that is one of the big problems with the industry. That's why I call it pay-to-win, and that's why I think it's not good to engage in that if you're playing on a console or on PC. Mobile games, whatever, that's a mobile games thing. But when you start to do those things on console games, you're sending a message that this is okay, and it's not. If I'm paying you $70 for a game, it should work fully on launch day, number one. And number two, I shouldn't have to pay additional money for the rest of the fucking game.
So this is the Dave, ladies. This is the guy we wanted.
You did this to yourself. You poked the bear. You came back. You tried to gotcha. And then I Uno reversed that card thing right back at you.
1 minute he's saying cluster, the next one he's cussing me out. That's what
got me riled up. Whenever I upload the episodes, I mark them as not for kids and explicit material because I never know when I'm going to say fuck. You got 2 this episode so far.
We got. I don't know if we're going to get very many more, but right. Okay. I understand that.
Did you have something you wanted to say? You wanted to try to defend this?
No, I understand when you put it under the guise of like, it's not even a guise, but when you put it under like literally $70 now for a full retail game, and yeah, that should be a slider in the options. Slow down my experience, or expedite my experience, or whatever. Like for a full $70 game,
if I'm paying $60 or $70, I should get the whole thing on day one. That's why the season passes thing was always bullshit.
Yeah,
hated that crap. Still do. Season passes now no longer really a thing. Now it's expected. There's going to be content released. Most people have an internet connection. We're not selling season passes. You're just going to buy the DLC when it comes out.
Call of Duty they're selling the hell out of them season passes though.
Well, so it used to be.
Does Apex have one? Like Apex and those games?
Oh yeah, that's how Apex makes money. It's a free to play game.
Oh, it's a free to play game though too. So
yeah, so every season I get the season pass. But the beauty about the Apex season pass is that if you complete the season pass, you earn enough in-game currency by completing the season pass to buy the next one.
So you can roll.
So I bought a season pass in season 2. And I've never paid for another one.
What season is it now?
13.
That's impressive.
4 seasons a year.
That's impressive.
Ish. Sometimes they lengthen the seasons. Whatever. Anyway. Does that conclude the news? Do you have more news for us?
That's my news, man.
Okay. Then we'll move on. Well, we've talked a lot about what we're playing already.
Yep.
So I guess this should just be what we're reading this week. Unless you want to talk about what you're playing too. I don't know. I have one thing I'm playing, but I have 3 things I'm reading. So all right. Go ahead.
So things I'm playing / reading. Number 1, I got this little ditty here. This Batman Deadly Joker. I'm holding up for the audio listeners. Uh, Batman Joker Deadly Duo. This book is apparently something that's been in the works for a long time, by one of the original Image guys, Mark Silvestri. I mean, the pencil work is like fantastic, and that's kind of what has really drawn me in for this book. The story is like so. It's not anything like groundbreaking or whatever, but it's a story pretty much where there's a team up between Batman and the Joker, and they're on the same team, and they're trying to solve a calamity that is going on in Gotham. The pencil work is just really good. So like it's kind of like an art book for me, but I've enjoyed it. Quick read. Not that I'm like the biggest Silvestri fan, but like I read some of that older like Witchblade stuff he did, and kind of like, oh, all right, this is pretty cool. So I like his artwork. It's just a little bit something different. Kind of reminds me of the '90s a little bit. So
Right, because he got started in the 90s and his
Yeah.
style hasn't changed.
Yeah,
That could be why.
that could be it. That'll definitely hit the nail on the head. What I've been playing, don't have anything to hold up, but what I've been playing is I've been playing Halo Infinite a little bit on the Xbox.
Really?
I waited for the co-op to come out because I'm playing with our buddy Sheridan because he's a big Halo guy. Game is beautiful. It's a lot of fun. The combat is awesome. I think it's really fun in co-op. It does have not a games as a service thing, but it's not like that tight, narrow Halo story campaign mission to mission. It is open world a little bit. You can zoom and go to just to the missions if that's what you want to do, but there are upgrades you can do on your Spartan, which are kind of cool. You can liberate like outposts. There's targets, high value targets, if that's kind of your thing. But I think you could just breeze through the campaign if you wanted to. But I've been having a lot of fun with it.
I played the
It's sad-
multiplayer when it first came out, and
Any good?
Halo. You like
Okay.
Halo? That's your thing. I don't really, so I didn't have a ton of fun with it.
The only downside is like literally I had to wait. I don't even know when the game launched, but like a year or two for this patch to come in with multiplayer.
I think it was a year. I think it came out last November.
Bro, like that is so bad that it was not, functional out of the box. But I was just like, I am not playing this game until the multiplayer is up and running, or the co-op was up and running. And once that was up and running, that's when I got in.
It blows my mind that Microsoft just continues to let 343 drop the ball with Halo at every turn. Every step of the way, they have made a mistake, like a calamitous mistake.
Calamity is a good word for it.
Dude, Halo has been known as the co-op shooter before co-op shooters were prevalent everywhere. Like on the original Xbox, the first Halo co-op shooter. That set a standard. And now they released the most recent Halo without functional co-op. I can't reconcile that in my brain. If I was that bad at my job, I would be unemployed now.
And that is why they're getting the brakes beat off of them by Sony. The sales because of stuff like that. None of the games are ready. Nothing's ready. We're still waiting. Still waiting on Starfield. Thought I'd get it by, the first half of the year.
I mean, that one you can't really. That's always how Bethesda is when they release a game, though. They give you like 3 or 4 different release dates. It gets pushed back every time because they release the games whenever they're ready. When they're ready, that's when they release it. They don't really. It's just their thing. That's what you sign up for with Bethesda.
Yes. Thing number 2 I'm reading. I have not read the entire thing. I am working through it, but I got the collected edition of Nightwing.
Ooh.
Dude, I mean, I've read the issues, but I saw the collected. I wanted to read it. Man, like this series is just fun, dude. Like it is just.
I've always loved Nightwing.
Even like the cover of the book, like it's just the art in Nightwing. It is just a good, not a reboot, but kind of like a mini relaunch of the character. I don't know if you know like the whole Rick Grayson era where he got shot in the head and he forgot all of his memories.
Yeah, I kind of remember that.
So, and he was like a cab driver, and he was in Bloodhaven, I think, but this was just kind of a relaunch of the character, getting him back to his roots. getting him connected with Barbara Gordon. He comes into a large sum of money, and that's like kind of what the first part of one of the things of the first trade is about. And
Interesting.
I,
We gave Dick a lot of money and we took all of Bruce's away.
yeah, I really just like the character
Me too.
because he honestly kind of reminds me of Daredevil, and that might be why he's like very
Mhm.
acrobatic. So like that's
Mhm.
one thing, but he's just like Daredevil, but not as depressing, and he's got a lot of heart. And I feel like as corny as it might be, I see more like Superman in him than Batman. I know that that kind of grinds your teeth, as in like
Not a
optimistic
fan
and
of
like,
that.
well, not flying around being hokey and corny,
I
but
know. I mean,
just
I
like
know that. I know who Nightwing is. He doesn't
I don't
fly
know,
around being corny.
but just like being optimistic and like what he does in this arc, like he's trying to really make Bloodhaven a better place. He's literally putting his money where his mouth is, and like dude, he's just like an awesome hero. And I'm glad that I'm kind of interested to see with this new relaunch, like of this Dawn of DC or whatever. Like, I hope he's really going to be front and center, like they're saying, because he's just a cool hero, and I hope he gets shine. Last thing I'm reading, actually, read a little ditty by Mark Millar called
Okay.
Nightclub Number One.
Okay.
Um, this book,
Vampires, I'm assuming.
I don't know why I'm a vampire guy too. Like, I never really
I don't
liked
either.
American Vampire. Redfall's about vampires. This book's about vampires. Something's killing the children. Like just horror. But
I mean, maybe you
Nightclub,
just like things that suck. You do love Superman.
well played. Um, so Nightclub is about a group of teens, obviously the best part of our youth. And I'm Roberto, I believe, is the Sam. I'm sorry, Sam is the main character in this story, and it starts off with the three kids. They want to be influencers on social media, so they're trying to start like a YouTube channel, right?
Okay.
And they're like, "Well, how do we get a following?" He's like, "We got to do something dangerous." If Sam's like, "Parkour is what we're gonna do," and they're like, "Dude, all right, let's do some parkour." And he's like, "No, we need to do it on the top of the building." So we do. So they're doing their parkour or whatever. Dude trips and falls off the building, and he's in the hospital. So he's in the hospital getting recovered or whatever, and a vampire comes in to the room and has like some hypnotic effect on like the nurse and the security guard, and the vampire bites him. So now he's a vampire. And I'm not going to go into like the vampire's motivations for like what he did and why he did it, but they explain what's kind of going on in the issue. And it's not nearly as profound as Invincible. Don't get me wrong, but the end of this issue has that our favorite superhero trope, Invincible thing, where he's in the costume and whatever, and it picks up from there. The reason I'm recommending this book, I don't know if you can see it, listeners, or it's going to come through on my camera. The price point is $1.99. This entire series is $2. If you're going to pick it up in paper or digitally, if you pick that issue up now digitally, it's 89 cents. It's 99 cents after a month. So this is called Putting Your Money Where Your Mouth Is. I'm probably going to be reading Nightclub, probably digitally. I don't think I need the rest of the other issues, but I did enjoy it. It was fun, and definitely for $1, I can get behind that. So that was the last thing I read.
Man, if the CW decided to make a show about vampires,
Yes.
it would be this. It sounds like a CW show. I don't mean that as a compliment.
I'm kind of an Arrowverse guy. I was kind of an Arrowverse guy.
I was
for a
too
while.
until it all turned to shit.
I was kind of, I don't know.
Man, that like normally I'm on board with your comic recommendations, but this one sounds awful to me. I'm so sorry, but that sounds terrible. That sounds so corny. They're gonna do parkour on the roof. Dude falls off the roof and gets bitten by a vampire, and then he's a vampire superhero. This stamp it CW, give it one season, then cancel it because that's exactly what you're getting out of that. That sounds really hokey.
If I didn't bring up the season pass, he would have been on board. I'm just saying.
Nope.
Just,
Nope.
just saying.
Nope.
What have you been reading or playing or doing?
Your boy's been doing some reading.
Really?
I am caught up I am caught up on the Massive Verse.
Really?
All of
you're
it.
way ahead. Really?
Dead Lucky, Radiant Black, Rogue Sun. I'm caught up on all of it.
What issue of Rogue Sun are you on? Because you text me 7. I feel like I have 9.
I read 9 today.
Okay, so you read all. All right, so you are legit caught up. Okay.
But the belle of the ball, the gem of the catch up that I just did. There are actually 2 things. So we got the origin of Radiant Yellow in one of those recent Radiant Black issues. And that was, I think, my favorite Radiant origin yet.
That's the black guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, his story was cool.
Yeah. Was his name like Lester or something, or Walter or something like that?
Yeah,
I don't remember his name. I suck. I should know his name. And you know what? I liked, you got to see a little bit of the back and forth of sharing the Radiant. I lied. I have one more issue of Radiant Black to catch. I think 21 is the one that's just came out. I haven't read that one yet, but I read everything else. But the coolest thing that I read in the last week was Rogue Sun number 7. I already texted Matt about this.
Yeah, I got it.
For those that don't know or aren't reading Rogue Sun, first of all, shame on you if you're not. Second of all, this was one of the coolest single issues of a comic book I think I've ever read. So they did it as a choose your own adventure.
Is this that? Okay, this is all right. I see.
They did it as a choose your own adventure book.
I remember that.
It basically, Rogue Sun encounters a new villain. Well, you don't know he's a villain at first, but you find out very quickly this is the villainous character in the comic. And what happens is at the end of every few pages that you read, this villain is giving you a choice of, hey, you can either do this or do that, like a choose your own adventure book. If you've never read a choose your own adventure book, I'll tell you about them real quickly. You read multiple pages, then you get to a decision point, and you have 2 decisions. You pick one of them, and then you go to whatever page it tells you to go to and read, the ramifications of your decision. Sometimes you die, sometimes you don't.
90% of the time you died.
It did feel like you died a lot in those choose your own adventure books. This is a choose your own adventure comic, and it's, I don't want to give it away, but it also is like 2 months old. 2 months old. I'll just say this: you really do get to choose your own adventure, because it's up to you how long it takes you to figure out what the right decision is in all of this. And the way that it ties you back and connects you with the character a little bit, genius.
Does it like tell you what's the proper path, or do you know at the end when you make the path?
You and I can talk about it after we're done recording. I won't give it away here.
I want to read that this week
but
for sure.
Very, very cool. Very, very cool.
Okay.
As far as what I've been playing, and we already mentioned, I'm playing God of War, a little bit of Madden here and there, and a lot of Apex Legends, which I'm actually going to do in a little bit here when we're done recording. I'm going to hop on Apex tonight because I'm on vacation this week from work. I ain't got nothing to do and no reason to get up early in the morning. I'll be playing Apex late every night this week, probably.
It's a great feeling.
It really is. It's our PTO resets in the first week of February, so I had 1 week left. I had to use it. It was use it or lose it time, so this is the week. Yeah. So I think that concludes this week's episode. So if you like what you hear or see, if you're into the content that Matt and I create, give us a like or a share or a 5-star review or whatever platform you're on. If it's YouTube, thumbs up. If it's an audio podcast, I don't know, however you rate us well on that audio format, then please do that, because that helps us out, helps other people find us. The algorithm's not going to do us any favors. We need you to do that. So if you like it, share it, interact with it. We'd really appreciate it. Our Twitters are in the description of this video or audio episode. You can follow us on Twitter. We'll follow you back. We'll talk about cool stuff. And until next week, my name is Dave.
And I'm Matt.
We'll see y'all in 7 days. Bye-bye.
Bye.